Gibbets. Was that you on the film?
Yes,
Who was filming that?
that was Mr. Colson.
Who was the individual in front of you a lot of the times?
That was Mr. Ian.
In what time frame was that taken?
Obviously, it was winter time, the snowbanks on the ground, the leaves on the trees.
For the record, it was at least uploaded March 5th, 2013. We saw a number of things on that. Is that a fair and accurate description of one particular incident with you?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, while I was watching the video, it's been a few months since I've done this, obviously, and, you know, I can remember saying, obviously, that when they were so close to me, when I'd turn around, I'd almost walk into them, but I honestly, sitting here, forgot how close they were to me. Just right in my face with the video and everything, and it kind of made me feel like I did that day.
How's that?
Just honestly ticked off and just wanting some space.
Before we go any further, Attorney Meyer, I want to give you an opportunity. You want to address the admissibility of this videotape. Do you want to make further argument on that?
Again, the objection is based on relevance.
The objection is overruled. You can proceed.
Thank you. I'd like to mark that as a full exhibit, and I'll get those to you. I have 2 more videotapes.
Again, the objection is preserved to the admissibility, but subject to that objection, which I've overruled, the videotape is viewed as a full exhibit.
Thank you. So, Alan, how often would something like that happen to you?
It was daily.
Well, you know, it's something like, I don't know, is that referring to videoing or referring to, what is that referring to?
I'll withdraw the question. Alan, how long would activities by Mr. Ian and Mr. Colson and other defendants, how often would you endure what we've just seen on the videotape on a weekly basis?
Like I said, it would happen daily. The length of time throughout that day would vary, depending on a lot of things, the weather, depending on, according to them, who was available at the time. Sometimes they'd tell me, oh, well, I'm the only one available today, so that's why I don't have one person on me. Sometimes there'd be a lot more people available, so I'd have 2 or more. So the length of time throughout each given day varied. Sometimes it would start from 9:30 when the time I took the streets, or until the time I left. Sometimes it would happen for a couple hours in the morning. Sometimes it would happen for a couple hours in the afternoon. So, but it was a daily occurrence that somebody was with me at some point in the day.
And we saw the closeness or the proximity of both Mr. Colson and Mr. Ian to you on a couple of occasions in that film. Does that fairly and accurately describe the proximity that they would walk towards you?
Yes.
There was also some indication of some bumping going on and crowding. Was that also a fair representation of what would happen to you on a regular basis?
Mostly with Mr. Colson's, not as much with Mr. Ian, to be honest with you. Sometimes he'd be at a greater distance, maybe a meter or 2 ahead of me.
How long did you serve in the military?
I served 8 years.
And how many tours of duty?
Your Honor, objection to relevance.
How is this relevant?
I'm going to ask, the offer of proof is that this man's been through a lot in terms of his military service. And weighing that with regard to what's going on here, he's made certain determinations as to his job, the impact on him.
You know, I don't understand what the military service, how that relates to its pertinent side of this case. Unless there's a different standard for someone who's in the military versus someone who doesn't have military service.
I understand the point. You've already had kind of testified as to the reasons why he left the position. I felt the relevance of it as well. The objection sustained.
Describe for the court, if you would, what statements, if any, individual defendants made to you with regard to quitting your job.
Now, again, the question we asked in terms of designating each particular defendant.
And I think his practice, Attorney Bauer, I don't mind it being asked in a general way, but frankly, ultimately, it's only gonna be useful to me if you can tie it to a specific individual. So, again, I'm allowing the question, but I'm signaling that ultimately, a statement like the defendants did X is not helpful unless it's tied to a specific individual.
And I will. So, Mr. Gibbons, describe for the court what statements, if any, were made by the defendants to you about quitting your job.
I would get statements from, pretty much, it was Mr. Colson, Mr. Ian, and Mr. Cleveland. And they varied from, you know, we can help you find a different job, we can help you find a real job that doesn't hurt people, that doesn't steal from people, that doesn't take their cars away, that doesn't hold them at ransom or condone violence. I would get comments from, you know, Mr. Colson all the time, you know, why don't you just quit? We're gonna keep doing this, we're not gonna stop. You should just quit, find another job. We can help you find another job. Mr. Cleveland would say the same thing when he was out with me, you know, we can help you find another job, why don't you find an honest job? Mr. Ian would say the same things, you know, why don't you find a different job? We can help you find another job. We can help the others find another job if they want. It was really those three that would say those things to me.
And again, on a weekly basis, how many times per week would those kinds of comments about quitting your job, finding another job, would be hurled at you?
Honestly, it all seemed to be what the topic of the day was for them. Sometimes that would be the topic of the day. Other times it would be to attack me personally, to try to get me to react a certain way. Sometimes it would be reference to my job. It would be all about the job that day. It would happen probably 2 or 3 times a week, depending on who was with me.
Your Honor, I've provided Attorney Meyer. I'm going to be moving that we submit. Oh yes, you have it yourself.
I'm guessing this is the binder with the photographs.
Photographs.
That were submitted last time. I don't know if they were ever marked.
I don't think they were, Your Honor. That's why I'm moving right now.
Any objection?
No, I don't object to them being marked for ID. There's description here. I don't know who that description comes from. It hasn't been identified or verified.
So the
Somebody-
specific
somebody-
objection is to the description that's contained next to the photographs?
Right, and
Or
some
above
of
the
these,
photographs?
well, and some of these, I mean, this witness can testify to those pictures presumably which he's included. But the majority of these pictures do not relate to him.
And we, if I may respond, we'll have testimony from another PEO. We've had previous testimony from Linda from the first day as to several of these photographs. So at the end of all 3 PEOs' testimony, I'll move for full exhibit to be accurate.
It can be marked for ID right now, once that's happened. Again, we can deal with the description language, which is a separate matter, but the photographs themselves, it's ID right now, and we can deal with whether it's a full exhibit at the end of the testimony.
Thank you. So I'd like you to turn to page 4, Mr. Gibbons. And would you describe what that photograph depicts, please?
This is a photograph of me and Mr. Garrett Ian. We're standing, I believe we're at the crosswalk that's going to cross West Street, going south on Main Street.
That was during your working hours as a PEO.
Yes, sir.
Does this fairly and accurately describe how close Mr. Ian was to you?
Yes.
Take- authenticate the description, it says that the Garrett Ian standing directly next to you in a crosswalk. That's an accurate description, isn't it?
Yes.
Take a look at photograph 5, if you would, please. What does that show?
That's an extreme close-up of me.
And who was taking that photograph?
That was Mr. Colson that day.
How about with regard to photograph 6?
That's another picture of me. I believe that's Mr. Colson, but I honestly can't remember. That looks like it's in the parking garage, Wells Lower, I believe.
Is he standing almost next to you when that photograph is taken?
Yeah, the only thing really between us is that meter, as you can see.
Take a look at photograph 8, please. What does that show?
That shows Mr. Coleman and Dave Berman walking behind me.
And what are those things that they have in their hands?
They appear to be camera phones.
Take a look at number 17. Now, you're not in that photograph, are you?
No, sir.
But who is depicted in that photograph?
That's Jane.
That's Jane, and how about any of the defendants
It looks like James Cleveland to the left.
with to the very left? with
Yeah,
the-
he's got a blue hat on and a gray coat.
Now, there are 3 individuals surrounding PEO Jane McDermott there, correct?
Yes, sir.
Did you have occasion to be surrounded by 2, 3, and more of these defendants at any given time?
Yeah.
And does that photograph fairly accurate, fairly describe how these defendants would follow you around?
Yeah, except for the fact that not only would they be directly behind us, but at a time when a large group like that, they'd be all the way around us, 360 degrees.
Mr. Gibbets, you described earlier for the court some of the impact that you experienced as a result of the conduct that you described in terms of being flush.
Mhm.
Did you have any physical symptoms or symptomology?
In our objection, in terms of physical symptoms, there has to be some medical testimony to verify the causal connection. And then refer the court to state report.
I'm not asking for a medical diagnosis, I'm asking for this gentleman's description of whatever physical impact that he experienced.
No, my objection is not to the question of a medical diagnosis. My objection is to the fact the Supreme Court has said that if you're going to attribute physical symptoms to an emotional trauma or other event, you can have expert medical testimony drawing the connection. It's not good enough for a layperson to say, well, I was upset and I had a headache, and the headache was caused by so-and-so.
Just by way of offering proof, what's the response going to be?
That the testimony would be is that he experienced redness in the face, that he had heart palpitations when encountering this conduct by the defendants, that he became angry and anxious, and these are symptoms that he did not experience on any other occasions dealing with the public.
No, I don't object to him saying that he felt anxious or angry, which he's already said. The layperson testified to that. But in terms of whether his heart palpitations, as he describes them, were caused by this scenario or some other physical or medical condition, is not something that he's confident to testify to.
I agree. I'm going to allow the testimony with the objection is sustained insofar as the objection is made.
From your point of view, Alan, what problems did you experience with the conduct of this?
Wait, an objection is simply leading, more general question leading to the same answer.
But I think that, as I understand, if there is testimony that goes beyond what I've deemed admissible, it'll be stricken.
Thank you.
What problems did you experience by the conduct that was directed at you from encounters?
I felt, because of the constant basis that it was happening, I felt an anger that I had never felt before, and it was on a consistent basis, and it was to the point where I knew that if either the action stopped by the individuals, or if I didn't leave, I was afraid that something was going to happen. I was either going to do something stupid or irrational and get myself fired or worse, or something physically more could have happened to me. That's all I can understand. It was just an outrageous anger that I had never felt before. And like I said, I spent countless years in the military and in corrections, and I've had people in my face and aggravating